Hi. Thank you so much for having me here. I am deeply, deeply privileged to be with you and with all of the other amazing presenters that are a part of this wonderful experience. So, my name's Sally Guthrie, and I am a clinical hypnotherapist and among other things. And I've been studying the mind for around 10 years now, and I've worked with thousands of clients. And all of my focus for the longest time was on the mind and the workings of the mind until I finally realized actually, it's all about the heart. It's all about the heart. And the mind is amazing in the way that it works, and we have overcomplicated what the mind does. And I'm going to work and just break down and give you my ideas around the way I think the mind functions, and tools to help you move through and connect, move past the mind into the heart. And there is nothing new under the sun, and there have been so many amazing things shared already. And some of the things that I talk about, you may already know and understand, but my hope and my desire is that you are able to take something maybe, with fresh perspective or a deeper level of understanding, or something I can offer gives you just that deeper knowing. Yeah. Or something you may already know about, or something you've never heard anything about. So, the mind. The mind is essentially a protection mechanism. The mind is designed for one thing only, and it is to keep us safe. It is to keep us alive on the planet. Your mind does not care if you are happy or calm or balanced or fulfilled or any of those things. It is simply a survival mechanism to keep you alive. And the way that it functions is very simplistic. It has these two kind of polarized navigation points. One is pain and one is pleasure. Anything that you have deemed via your experience and your perception of your experience, anything that you have deemed as painful or unpleasant in some way, the mind is going to navigate you away from. Anything that is more pleasurable or beneficial in some way, the mind will navigate you towards. Yeah, it's this very simple and so easily an explanation. Sorry, an example could be a roller coaster. Yeah, very simple example. For one person, a roller coaster is amazing and incredible, and you are drawn towards it, and everything in your head and all of the thinking around it is, yes, it's a good thing. For somebody else, the experience has been different, and they will not even go to a theme park. Yeah, but it's like that way with absolutely everything. And when we understand that's the mind's job, yeah, anything painful is, anything unfamiliar can be classified on that painful side. The mind loves what is familiar. It wants to keep you safe. That is all it's doing, keeping you safe based on all of the conditioning, the thoughts, the patterns, the programming that you have created via your experience. So, understanding that the mind, we have our conscious thinking mind that we utilize to create and, think through things. But then we have the much bigger part of the mind, which is the unconscious, which takes care of absolutely everything, where all of the programs and conditioning are stored. It's all stored there, all of those experiences and the connections to those experiences, which alter the way we navigate through life, are all stored in the subconscious. The subconscious, by the time we're 35, 95% of our entire experience is just simply that subconscious autopilot, just repeating, repeating, repeating. Yeah. And so when we get that, and when we understand that the conscious mind, it works at 40 bits per second. Subconscious mind, 40 million bits per second. So when we get that there is all of this conditioning that sits there, and we are being propelled forward by essentially programming that is sitting in our head that we have no awareness of, subconscious, beneath the surface. Yeah. No awareness. So all of our experiences form these pain or pleasure points and the belief structures that move around those things. And then the mind then helps us navigate that way. But when we understand that we are not our thoughts, and I know so many of you already understand this in mindfulness and being the observer, but there's an analogy that I like to use, that I share with all of my clients. And for me, it's so helpful to understand that the mind is like, it is that protector. It is like the lookout on the ship, the one at the top of the mast calling out, there's a reef, there's a storm, there's an iceberg. That is its job. And we can honor and love it for the work that it does. It is there to protect us. Yeah. But what happens is we let the lookout steer the ship. And that's when we move into anxiety and overwhelm and suffering, because the lookout is steering. When we understand that we are not the lookout, we are not the thoughts, we are the captain of the ship. And when you can sit in that position as the captain, the observer, whatever terminology you want to give it, this particular analogy I love, to be able to say, thank you for sharing. I say to my mind, to my thoughts, hundreds of times a day, thank you for sharing. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. I am the captain of this ship. This is the direction I am going. Yeah. Understanding that it's got old information, your mind. Old information, in that it can be, calling out that there are icebergs ahead and you're in the Caribbean, based on the fact that this is information stored from when you were very young, not right now, not your current reality, but it's playing out the old. Yeah. So sitting in the I am the captain of this ship. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. So I'll give you an example, simple, everyday example. You're running late, and the lookout, you feel it. Yeah, it starts. You're running late. You're going to mess up this meeting before you get there. They didn't really like you anyway. This isn't going to go well, blah, 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 blah. And you let the lookout steer the ship. And what happens? You're like running late and moving into that hyper experience of anxiety and stress, because you're allowing the lookout to steer, and you take a wrong turn, you're, hating all of the people around you in the traffic, and you have this entire experience of getting there 5 minutes late, and it is horrendous. Yeah. And instead of actually just then noticing, yeah. And here's the thing, we don't always notice the chatter, because the chatter for most of us is pretty incessant. Yeah. The chatter is just happening. And so we don't, but what you can really grab very quickly is the feeling. You will notice the feeling, and the feeling is always a feeling of constriction. Yeah, contraction. You close around the thought or the feeling. Yeah. And so when you feel that, then backtrack. What has the lookout been throwing at you? Oh, right, I get it. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I am 5 minutes late. I am going to inhale and expand, turn up the music, listen to my podcast, enjoy the sunshine, whatever it is. And I'm going to arrive 5 minutes late, feeling good. Always the question, how do I want to feel? Are these thoughts serving me? No. Yeah. It's not about pushing thoughts away or squashing down feelings or emotions. It is just about really being your own navigator, really choosing for yourself what thoughts you will entertain, how do I want to feel? Is that helping me? No, it is not beneficial. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I am safe. I am okay. This is how I want to feel, and this is the way I'm going to move forward with it. So understanding that and loving it, thanking the mind, catching, noticing when it's trying to protect you, it is overly protective. Yeah. The problem that has evolved with the mind, apart from the fact that we're completely run by it most of the time, is that it has protected us so well from everything. We have allowed it to protect us from our hearts. Yeah, because heart is where truth is. The mind, it is black and white perceptions and judgments. Yeah, true, not true, it makes no difference. Yeah, it is just perception. But the heart is governed by a much deeper truth. The heart is the portal to all knowing. And when you sit in that heart space, when you move away from the mind and drop down into the heart space, you can feel You can feel what is true. You can know what is true. But we've allowed the mind to protect us from this space and to keep us from it. So understanding the mind and seeing the conditioning, the patterning, yeah, and being able just to step back from it and be the captain, drop down into your heart that does not need any protection, your heart where truth and knowing lives, your heart that was beating before you even had a brain cell. It was beating. Your heart that is 60 times stronger electromagnetically. Yeah. Your heart is your connection to source, the portal. The mind is just this protection mechanism. And when we can truly see it for what it is, we can be free, not to control it, to observe it, and to choose, because we actually have the power to choose. We have the power to choose what we do with every thought. I've got teenagers, and every now and then they say to me, "Mum, who's steering your ship?" I'm like, yeah, it's really lovely to have that kind of confront in your life, but to actually use it daily, sit in it, notice it. Are you being the captain? Yeah, allowing the feelings. Yeah, and I could go for days. We've only got 15 minutes, so I need to be short. Allowing the feelings. The feelings are completely different to the thoughts. The thoughts, however, will perpetuate feelings that are unrequired. There's a big difference between pain and suffering. Yeah, pain is an important part of our process. It opens us up wide to growth and to experience new levels of understanding in life, and is safe. Pain is safe. It's safe to sit in it and to feel it. The difference between pain and suffering is suffering we cause ourselves. We cause our own suffering based on the idea, the thought that we look at it and say, it shouldn't be this way. It should not be this way, is what causes the suffering. Sitting in, I feel pain and it is okay, and this is the way it is, in absolute acceptance, or whatever the situation is. It is then simply pain, and it is safe. It is not suffering. Suffering does not happen in the heart. Suffering happens in the mind. Yeah. So understanding the mind. So using that super tool of you being the captain, notice what the lookout says. How do I want to feel? And navigate that way. Catch and notice. Notice the feeling of contraction around a thought or whatever it is, knowing that a feeling is safe to be felt, good, you know, and we label feelings, yeah, as good or bad feelings, and that's not even true. There are feelings that are positive, there are feelings that break us open, yeah, teach us. All are okay, all are a part of the experience. What we do with it here, what we choose, and we absolutely have the power to choose. So I hope that was really helpful for you, that you can use that analogy, that tool, and understanding the mind a little bit better, knowing that it is a system of your body, of your experience, like your heart, your digestion is digesting your food, your respiratory system is breathing, your mind is just keeping you safe, yeah, but it's hyper vigilant. So notice, what ways is it keeping you safe that you don't need to be held safe from? Move into the ownership, the responsibility of choosing for yourself. You are the captain. You choose, you decide. Navigate the way you desire. Thank you so much. My privilege. I hope that it's been beneficial and helpful. You can contact me at www.sallyguthrie.com, and I'm sure that there'll be lots of ways and links to be in contact if you wanted to understand anything further. Okay, thank you so much. Namaste.